What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, back with some more Draft League content, this time bringing you guys my draft analysis for season number 6 of the IBL. So we are back this time, not as a replacement coach. I decided to stick around, and this time I decided to draft my own team this go-round. So this season of the IBL is different from the previous 2 seasons, which were points draft. This season of the IBL, we went back to tier draft, and it's kind of... I'm so accustomed to points draft these days now that I feel like tier draft is kind of on the back foot now, but it's more of the opinion of, like, whoever, the tiering itself, like, why is such Pokemon this tier, and so on and so forth. So, the tiering itself... it's pretty much straightforward, like any standard format. You draft your tier 1, tier 2, 2 tier 3s, a tier 4, tier 5, a mega, and you get 400 free points to draft 4 extra Pokemon. So this season is a little bit different considering there's only 12 coaches as opposed to the standard 16. So yeah, 4 less people to deal to in the mix. That means 4 less people to snipe me. But this time around, I felt like going a little bit out of the norm with some of my picks. And you'll see right away with my round 1 pick what I'm talking about here. So, just to jump right straight into my my team for this upcoming season of the IBL. With my round 1 pick, I had the 10th pick in the draft out of 12 coaches. So, I'm all the way in the back. I didn't get anything too powerful, overwhelming, or anything. And you'll see what I mean by round 1 pick. And the only reason why I got this Mon round 1, it easily could have been round 2, but the only reason why I got it now was because of the fact that I've never used it for 1, and everything else I've used extensively already, and I felt like a change of pace was necessary. So, with my round 1 pick, unconventionally, number 10 overall, I grabbed Kartana. So yeah. I mean, not the first thing that comes to mind, a round 1 Kartana, probably like a round 2 at the very least, but hey, I never get to try the thing. Every time I had a grass type on my team, or grass or a steel type, its name was Ferrothorn, so wanted to give Ferrothorn a break this time, and decided to go the route of Kartana with my round 1 pick. Never used it before, just gives me a nice change of pace. Stuff like Garchomp and Celesteela, not Celesteela, but Garchomp, Clefable, all that stuff I've used in the past. I want to give it a break. I wanted to try to mix it up, and considering that Gen 7 is coming to a close, I wanted to get my hands on some different Pokemon I've never used before. Kartana I've never used. Just a very powerful Pokemon, nice solid wall breaker between Swords Dance, Choice Scarf, Choice Banded, in retrospect. So, I'm just trying to keep this short because I don't want to like talk you guys' head off about what this Mon does or anything. So, Kartana, just a very nice Pokemon, nice offensive threat to start my team off with, because normally I am a more bulky person. And you'll see I kind of alluded back to the bulky route with my round 2 pick, which does support my Kartana pretty decently in this retrospect, which is Tapu Fini. Didn't have to go the Tapu Fini route, but it does help that Kartana. It does help that Kartana can't be burnt. It gives me a check to the fire types that Kartana does not like dealing with, and it also gives me a check to fighting types as well. So it gives me a nice, decent balance option in this retrospect. And Tapu Fini is just a really solid Pokemon in general. If it had recovery, it would be a whole lot better, I'll tell you that for sure. But I've used Tapu Fini before, really liked it as a whole, and I really don't know what else to say in this regard, because it's just a very nice solid typing. It's solid defensively, can be very potent offensively. I think it's like underrated in that regard, being an offensive wall breaker potentially, and having the ability of Misty Terrain, Misty Surge to set up the Misty Terrain so it can't be status is also very nice for like Calm Mind stuff, and being a potential defogger, a fast taunter, all that sort of stuff. And also with Kartana being a defogger, I have some pretty good hazard removal right away if I need to go that route. So round number 3, I picked up Rookodile with my round 3 pick, kind of early, maybe, I don't know, but I felt with my team having good removal with 2 defoggers, I felt having a sturdy, having an option for rocks would be a good option at this point. So I grabbed Rookodile here. Good typing ground dart, can be choice scarf, can be my stealth rocker if I need to. Is also another taunter, a good speed tier between Kartana and Tapu Fini, and just a nice option in terms of utility, like I already mentioned, between choice scarf and stealth rock. Can also be run in other sets like bulky rocks, like specially defensive, physically defensive, with Rocky Helmet or stuff along those lines. But hey, again, it's a very straightforward mon, and it fits it fills out my speed tier between Kartana and Tapu Fini very, very well. It gives me something between 90 and 100. So that is my Rookodile. Next up, I wanted to grab something that can at least alleviate the pressure on my Kartana, since Kartana is hard walled by like bulky grass and steel types. Sacred Sword won't be doing that much, so I wanted to grab at least I wanted to grab a fire type in with my next pick, and I grabbed the one fire type I felt the most comfortable with grabbing to pair up with Kartana and with Rookodile, and appreciates the defogging of Tapu Fini, and that's none other than Volcarona. So picking up round 4 Volcarona, just a very fantastic mon, one of my favorite Pokemon, especially considering that I'm not really fond of using Pokemon that have a big weakness to Stealth Rock, but I've used Volcarona enough in the past to realize that that really won't be much of a problem in my case, because if I'm able to set up once Volcarona gets up a Quiver Dance and my opponent's team is weakened to the point where Volcarona can just go for Stab, Bug Buzz, or Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Fiery Dance, anything of the sort, Volcarona can put in so much work for a team given the right team support. And I feel like having the support between having Kartana deal with like rock types, ground types, or all that sort of thing. Rookodile also can deal with it to an extent. Tapu Fini can defog away hazards for Tapu Fini, and it's just a very nice pairing in general. Yeah, really enjoy having Volcarona here, and Volcarona is going to be one of my Z-Mons for this roster. Just a very potent sweeper with Quiver Dance, and with either Bug-Any MZ or Fire MZ, Psyche MZ if I need to go that route. It's just a very solid mon in general, and I really want to use Volcarona again at least one more time before Gen 7 came to a close, and I figured why not grab it here in round number 4. So moving on, round number 5, picked up Mienshao. Kind of weird that I'm kind of huddling up my speed tiers a bit, considering I already have a Pokemon faster than 100 in my Kartana. But with Mienshao, it gives me a pivot with U-turn, nice regenerator mon in general. Can also be another Choice Scarf user, so I don't have to go the route of Choice Scarf with Rookodile. It's surprisingly bulky, which is nice for regenerator and do like defensive stuff sets like that. And Reckless High Jump Kick is a very powerful asset to have in the back for my team. Also gives me extra utility with knockoff. I already talked about U-turn with momentum for my Volcarona, excuse me. So having another option to deal with like rock types and stuff that can take super effective hits from the likes of Volcarona very well. And I could also potentially run some Baton Pass shenanigans. I don't really remember if Baton Pass is banned, like speed or another stat, something along those lines. But yeah, the option of Baton Pass is in the realm of possibilities in this league. So if I'm able to pull it off, I can potentially run a set like that, but we'll see what happens in the near future. So that is my round 5 pick in Mienshao. Just fills a very solid role as a fighting type that can potentially dent holes and be a nice solid pivot in general. So moving on, round number 6 picks. Speaking of pivots, I grabbed oops, sorry about that. With my next pick, picked up Mesprit with my round 6 pick. Just a nice solid psychic type, because I feel like having a sturdy psychic type on a team is a very very good thing to have. Mesprit also gave me another stealth rocker, which I only had in my Crocodile, so it alleviates the pressure on me rigging rocks on Crook. And Mesprit can just do so many things for a team, between being run as a stealth rocker, a choice specs user, choice scarf user. It does so many things, like a jack of all trades mon in one. I'm really excited to use Mesprit again. This is also going to be my second Z-Mon to pair with Volcarona, just to alleviate the potential knockoff weakness that it has, so I can run a Z Crystal on my Mesprit. And do like a bunch of different sets, like Calm Mind, Psyche MZ I've talked about, just Z in general. It's just a very nice thing to have. It also gives me another momentum user with U-Turn, gives me Healing Wish support. And I already talked about Stealth Rock and all with other amazing sets that I can potentially run on the team. So that's pretty much all I want to say about Mesprit. Just a very nice, solid mon in general in League format. I'm really glad to have it on my team for this particular team, because I feel like it appreciates the added support overall. So next up, with my round 7 pick, round 7, decided to pick up Ganggari, because at this point on the team, I had nothing that at least was 110 speed, and Ganggari did fulfill that role. I didn't really need to grab Ganggari, but it was on my radar for quite a while actually, considering that I wanted a strong special attacker. I also didn't have anything to absorb toxic spikes at the moment, so I wanted to have something to alleviate the pressure on my team in terms of having a T-Spike Absorber and another potential Choice Scarf Mon. Ganggari did fit that role for me very, very nicely, between running Choice Scarf, as I mentioned, and just sub 3 attacks. It's also a good set to consider, but like, overall, Ganggari may not be the mon it once was, because Levitate was amazing in Gen 6. But anyway, Ganggari is still a very solid threat in and of itself. It's a very potent mon in League format regardless, as if teams don't really have adequate ghost switch-ins, then I can just freely click Shadow Ball with this Ganggari. It also gives me another option with like Taunt to shut down more bulkier Pokemon on my opponent's team. So yeah, really interesting option to have at my disposal with Ganggari here. Moving on with my last 4 picks. Round number 8, I did end up grabbing Guardbordure, and it may look weird to grab double poison, especially considering that I don't really have the best of psychic checks at this point. Like, I have Crocodile and Mesprit, and Kartana is never going to take special attacks whatsoever. But Guardbordure gives my team essentially a Spiker, a backup T-Spike Absorber, another Fighting Resist, all that sort of thing. But more often than not, I just want to have that Spike option in the back, and really Guardbordure was the only real thing that was around that I felt comfortable grabbing, even though it may give me double poison. It makes me a little bit weaker to ground with this setup of getting Guardbordure or Ganggari. But I still feel very comfortable grabbing this particular pick, especially considering for some weird reason Guardbordure was tier 5, and I was like, hey, that's a steal in my book, getting a tier 5 Guardbordure, so I'm not going to complain whatsoever about getting a mon like this. And it's just another solid defensive Pokemon in general, so and not much else to say about it. It's just solid defensive Pokemon, can be run offensive if I need to, but more often than not, this will be dedicated as like a Spiker, just to get some pressure on my opponent's team with those hazards if I can get them up. So moving on, round number 9, picked up Licky, which was also also tier 5, which is another steal in my book, which gives me a Wish Passer, so I can keep stuff like Tapu Fini healthy since it lacks recovery, and it's also another Pokemon that's sort of like a middle ground, sort of jack of all trades, master of none, because of the fact that it does have some pretty decent stats overall, and it isn't limited to just being a Wish Passer. It can also be ran more offensively, like a bulkier set with stuff like Sword Stance. It has a very extensive move pool with stuff like Thunderbolt, Fire Blast, Ice Beam. It has a very very wider range of coverage options at its disposal, not just limited to be a wish passer, but having that wish option is also nice for this particular team, considering that some of my Pokemon does lack recovery, and the fighting weakness that Licky has is covered pretty well by my team, considering I have Volcarona, Mesprit, Guardbordure, Finny, and Gengar to alleviate the fighting weakness. So it feels really, really nice to pair it up Licky on this particular squad. And it also gives me a slower option, because a Slowmon, because my team was pretty fast. My slowest Pokemon prior to grabbing Licky was my Guardbordure at 75 speed. So I wanted to have some sort of slow option in the back, as something bulky and fat enough to take those take hits in general and wish up and get some things going. Also pairs up very nicely with the potential toxic spikes from my Guardbordure, or just getting some wish protect action going on in that regard. So moving on to round number 10, I didn't have a dragon type, and I was initially trying to get Noivern initially, but Noivern unfortunately was sniped on the way. I was hoping it would come back to me for round number 10, but unfortunately it did not come back. So I had to alter my last two picks a little bit, and I still wanted a dragon type. Not ideally the mon I wanted to grab with my round 10 pick, or the dragon I was looking at grabbing initially, but because of the snipe I did have to alter my plan. So round 10 picked up Tyrantrum. Not really like I said, not really the dragon type I was looking to grab with this pick, or in general with this team, but it does give me a powerful physical wall breaker to pair with the rest of my mons, like something that could just break through with head smash. Kind of a iffy pairing, considering that that Misty Terrain weakens Tyrantrum's Dragon Stab, but more often than not, this thing is just going to be clicking head smash repeatedly and just trying to get kills. It's a very, very powerful, potent wall breaker, and if I get some momentum support going with between my Mesprit, Mienshao, and any of my other momentum I get on my team, then yeah, Tyrantrum can take lives, even though I don't really have the best support for it. Like, maybe I lack Sticky Web, but more often than not, if I am able to play my play Tyrantrum correctly, I think it's going to put in a ton of work, given the circumstances. It also do Dragon Dance, Rock Polish, and it gives me a third Stealth Rocker I didn't outside of just having Mesprit and Rookodile. It also gives me another potential Stealth Rock option in that regard. But yeah, this is most likely just going to be dedicated as a physical breaker for the team. And with my final pick in the draft, as you see, I don't have a Mega yet, and with the way I use my free points, I am limited to a Tier 2 Mega or lower, and I didn't have anything faster than Gengar. So with my last pick, I wanted something faster than Gengar, and something that kind of brought the team together as a whole, and this kind of makes up for the fact that I got sniped on Noivern. Initially I was going to get like Mega Magnetric with this team, but that plan got changed, and now my Mega has become Mega Pidgeot. So I've used Mega Pidgeot in the past, and it was so fun to use Mega Pidgeot in the CPC, and I figured try and give it one more chance, give it another go in the IBL. This thing is just so good with no guard just spamming hurricanes unimpeded if my opponent does not have an adequate flying switch in. Stab Hurricane is just going to do a ton of damage. It also gives me another defogger for potential defogger for Volcarona. It gives me momentum with U-turn. So yeah, the possibilities are endless with Mega Pidgeot, but just having a fast Pokemon that can spam Hurricane unimpeded without having the chance of missing, it's just a very nice option to have, and I feel like this it fills out my team very, very nicely, just having that general fast mon. Not ideally fast, but in the sense of just having a Pokemon that's like faster than base 120 in this regard. So yeah, I really do like how the team is shaped up towards the end there with a couple of my picks. Some of them I'm going to try to get acquainted with, because some of them I haven't used before, or it's been a while since I've used them, but overall I do like the structure of my team. I feel like it's pretty well balanced. all things considered. So hopefully this will be the team that hopefully takes us all the way to our championship. But that's pretty much all I want to say. It's just kind of just trying to work out the kinks more or less. But yeah, I still feel like this is a very fun team to try out overall. Some of these Pokemon I've never used before. Kartana is the main one I'm looking forward to using the most if I can help it. But for now, that's going to be it from me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy my team. Tell me what you think in the comments of my draft as a whole, and what any potential weaknesses or whatnot. I know I have a bunch, but anyway, that's gonna be it from me, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other coaches taking IBL season number 6. And until the next time, this is Tone signing out for now. Peace out.